of Sales and Customer Services at E2M. I have been working in sales and customer services vertical since last 6 years. In my tenure and the career graph of 6 years, I have had the privilege to work, and still I'm actively working with more than 150, 160 developers indirectly. In total, I have closed a business of more than 5 million plus, and I am actively working with more than 200, 250 agencies, or I would say over the world, who sell WordPress, like as websites. So this is like a quick background about what I do and why I will be speaking today on AI and how we can be irreplaceable in the world of AI. Now, AI, when we talk about it, it's not something that has been, I would say, discovered in just last 1 year. AI has been here since very, very long. But now, when we say that how has AI impacted our lifestyle? How has AI impacted what we do? In that case, we just came to know about it since inception of ChatGPT. So if somebody asks us, like before November 30th, 2022, that do you think AI is going to change the face of the world? We might say that, hey, we are not sure. But now, when we know, since the inception of ChatGPT, that how it has evolved, we might say that, okay, we don't know how is it going to evolve. How is it going to affect our day-to-day things? So now if we see the quick stats about ChatGPT, when we start, it is one of the, I would say, in the history of a digital era, this is one digital product that has seen such massive growth. One of the fastest growing digital products in the history of humankind. If we see the stats, this is about like the 1 million user acquisition. The stats was pulled out from a recent Harvard research that was made. So Netflix took about 3.5 years to acquire the first million user base, which Instagram might have taken like just 2.5 months. But you know what? ChatGPT did that in just 5 days. Do you think this is something that we might have thought would have happened before the inception of ChatGPT? Now, after the evolution, after ChatGPT was introduced, we have seen there are a lot of enhancements and progresses that have been made. Now, we are seeing on a day-to-day basis that there are a lot of use cases that we are using ChatGPT for. So I'd like to know, like, how many of you are developers here? Okay, quite a few. And how many of you have already used ChatGPT? Okay, quite a few. But yeah, how many of you have used ChatGPT apart from content? So not just for content, like maybe editing or rewriting, but more than that. Okay, that's quite a few. So now we all know that there are different use cases of ChatGPT as to how we can integrate it in what we do on a daily basis. And we have already seen that it has started impacting a lot of businesses when it comes to content, when it comes to coding, when it comes to logical reasoning. It has impacted a lot of day-to-day activities that we are doing. One of the recent podcasts where Ilya Sutsquare, who is also the co-founder of OpenAI, mentioned that ChatGPT is going to impact every aspect of our life. Before 1 year, we might have thought that, okay, we might not have someone who would write content for us or who would write code for us. But ChatGPT made that happen. So now there are a lot of use cases which we might have not thought are possible, but they are possible because of using AI and ChatGPT and OpenAI. So it is going to impact a lot of, I would say, aspects of our life. Now, WordPress being the common denominator among all of us, it's also going to affect the WordPress ecosystem. Now, when we talk about websites, globally, 42% of the sites that are built using WordPress, which is a huge number. So do you think being in the WordPress ecosystem, we will be spared from the effect of AI, or we will not have any effect of AI? If we think that, we are wrong. It is, and it has already started impacting the WordPress ecosystem. This stat was pulled from a recent research that was made. Is when I say that, okay, it has already started impacting, this is an analysis of the earnings and the jobs of writing and editing that happens on a freelancing platform. So the first curve, the first graph that you see is in the number of jobs, and the second graph is all about earnings. So we are already seeing a steep decline in the number of wages and in the number of jobs when it comes to after the inception of ChatGPT. So as we see here, the curve before ChatGPT's inception shows to be significantly, I would say, on track, where the job just goes ups and downs based on the supply and the demand. But right after the inception of ChatGPT, we are seeing a steep decline in that curve. Now, what does that mean? That means that AI is doing a lot many things which humans used to do. In terms of wages, you see that before the inception of AI, there's a significantly good curve when it comes to graphical representation. But after the inception of ChatGPT, November 2022, we are seeing a steep decline in even that. So right now, these things or these effects we are seeing in the content editing jobs, writing jobs, design jobs. But the time is not far where we'll see this same thing to be replicated in terms of coding. And that is what we are going to discuss today, that how to make sure that we are not the victims of that steep curve that happens. These are also the recent stats is 14% of the global workforce will be affected due to AI by 2030. And 30% of the jobs are potentially automated by AI by 2030. So these are not the stats that we have made up. These are the stats that have been pulled up from a well-defined research that was made in the US in Stanford. Now, is it just about AI? Like, how many of you have used an AI tool apart from ChatGPT and seen like a huge difference in your day-to-day thing? Has anybody used anything else apart from ChatGPT? Okay, we see a lot of hands. So it's not just the OpenAI who is going to take the place in your day-to-day activities. It's also going to be the other AI transformations that is happening around us. Now, if we see Microsoft Copilot, Microsoft has designed this AI, which is kind of an interface between what you really want and all the applications that they have. So basically, you might not have to write Excel formulas, you might not have to do formatting, or you might not have to do the segregations of the email in your Outlook. All you have to do is just provide precise prompts, and Microsoft Copilot is going to do that for you. And yes, AlphaCode 2. How many of you have heard about Gemini yet? Okay, quite a few hands. So I feel privileged that this happened just like a couple of days before this presentation. So AlphaCode 2, which is also Google DeepMind, introduced Gemini, which is something I would say mind-boggling. It has much, much more things that it can do, which ChatGPT cannot. So Gemini, which is introduced by DeepMind, not only just processes text, code, and audio, but it will also be able to process images and videos, which is, again, is going to be the next big revolution when it comes to AI and integrating it in your day-to-day things. Now, what does all this mean for us? We have seen all the stats. We have seen how is it impacting businesses. We have seen how it has already impacted businesses. But what does all this mean for us? How do we integrate AI in what we do? That is the biggest question, I would say. That is the elephant in the room that we are here to discuss about. Like, how to be irreplaceable in this era of AI, which is transformatively changing day on day. So you are seeing whole new lot of things every day, what AI can do and what are the capabilities of AI. So this is one quote that I recently read and which has stuck into my head is, AI won't replace you, but a person using AI will. So if we don't start integrating AI in what we are doing currently, there will be someone who has already implemented, integrated, and already has started using AI. So that person is a threat for us, and not AI is a threat for us. So if we start implementing, if we start adapting, and if we be open about integrating AI in what we do, we are irreplaceable. So he is none other than Matt Mullenweg, co-founder of WordPress. We all might be aware about him. So recently in a podcast, he was asked about how do you think the WordPress ecosystem is going to be affected by AI? And do you think we are going to see more of AI in WordPress? So that's where he mentioned that you either adapt it or you will be replaced by someone who has already adapted it. Now, what does that mean? We see a lot of things happening around WordPress in AI. So if we are open, as a developer, if you are open, if you are kind of curious to know that, okay, this is something that I could do with the help of AI, then there's no room for anything which I would say anything bad might happen to you. It's like always going to be upon your curiosity, your learning power, that how much open you are to integrate AI. So we work on a quite of clients on a day-to-day basis, and at E2M, we always believe that we want to stay ahead of the curve. Now, what ahead of the curve means is when ChatGPT was introduced to the world, we started kind of adapting it and learning more about it, that how can we integrate it in what we do for the clients, for the projects, or for anything that we do on the floor. And there are, trust me, a lot of use cases where we have used ChatGPT apart from just content editing or content writing or maybe just kind of screening the code. So for one of the clients, we have like a team of developers who have already started using ChatGPT. So let's take an example of Gaurav. So for one of the clients, they just shared with us that there's a problem with the website loading issues. Now, before I kind of explain you how we use this prompt, I want to tell you, I am not a coder. I know nothing about coding. You guys are experts. This is all foreign language for me, but I wanted to bring this for you just to show you that how you can use this on your day-to-day use cases. Now, this client has a website loading issue where due to some geolocation pin code tracking, they were not able to load the websites. Now, in an ideal scenario, what would we do? We would say that, hey, we need to debug the code. We need to see the backend. We need to see really what is wrong, and then we will have to fix it. So ideally, it might take anywhere around 6 to 8 hours. And that's what we told the client, that, hey, it's going to take a day. Give us a day, and then we'll get back to you. Now, what Gaurav did is Gaurav just provided the code, wrote the prompt, and shared it with ChatGPT that, hey, this is the code, this is what the problem is, and I'm looking for a solution around it. Now, based on the prompt, it provided a result, which we directly integrated it. It provided kind of the lines of codes which were not made based on the standards, which had to be changed. And then just by integrating this output, we were able to bring the desired result for the client in just 30 minutes. Trust me, it was just 30 minutes. So now when we compare 8 hours and when we compare 30 minutes, it's not just saving time, it's saving money, and it's also showing that how you are evolving yourself in this ever-dynamic landscape. And this is not just the one example of how we have integrated. Now, creating Ajax. All the developers right here might know that creating Ajax is kind of a cumbersome task, which is you have to write a lot of lines of code to create that. Now, Gaurav did this thing where he just asked ChatGPT that, okay, provide me the coding for the event post type and write an Ajax for it. And ChatGPT did it. We integrated it, and we kind of got the desired result. So this, again, not only just saved us the time, but we were able to integrate it in something which he might have thought it's a repetitive task. Now, retrieving data from RSS feed. So this is all kind of, I would say, real-life scenarios where we have already integrated and used it and already found the desired results. So you as developers can start instilling this thought in your mind that, okay, if this is the problem, then this is how I can ask ChatGPT, provide the precise prompt, and then based on that, I can get desired output. Now, ChatGPT is something which is not perfect, I would say. They are still evolving. They are still kind of changing everything in the ChatGPT landscape. And it's not just ChatGPT, it's also custom GPT, which allows us to create plugins. So now we will also be able to create plugins which will do all the redundant jobs, which you might feel that, okay, I'm bored of doing that. So now when we talk about it, it's not a perfect model. It's more of a self-learning model. So the more precise information you provide, the more precise prompt you provide, the more accurate is the output. So the game to get the desired output is totally, totally dependent upon how precise the prompts are and how precise the information is when you're providing something in ChatGPT. So when we talk about integrating it in our day-to-day lives, just think about all the use case scenarios that you might start doing from Monday. Let's say you are going back to your desk on Monday. You are starting your work. How can you use ChatGPT right from the day one? So this is more about implementing it rather than just learning about it. Now, if Gaurav was able to do it, you can all do it. So ChatGPT is here to help us, to enhance and boost the skills that we have, to help us and save us from things that are redundant and kind of where we can focus on what we love. Now, there are companies which have already adapted AI, and they have adapted AI in a way which is beyond our imagination, which we might have thought it's not possible in this future, but they did it. Let's take an example of Trello. So how many of you have already used Trello from your Trello or ClickUp or anything? Okay, there's quite a few. So now what Trello has done is they have integrated an AI, which is known as Butler, which is going to automate tasks for you. It's going to bring you the information that you need, and all this is going to happen by just a search query. So you won't have to go through all the records, all the projects, and everything. This will be done just by one single line of query, and it will bring you the desired results. Adobe Firefly, this is definitely the talk of the town. This creates images from the text. So you say that, hey, I need a WordCamp booth. It has to feel happening, and there has to be young people around it. It will create the image for you. You don't need to go into Photoshop. You don't need to go into XD, or you don't need to go into any designing tools. This will do the job for you. Stack Overflow. I'm sure all the developers here might have used Stack Overflow for sure. What happens here is you just provide that, hey, this is the kind of doubt I have, or this is something that I'm looking for help with. Now, instead of giving you 10 to 15 different articles to look at, it just gives you one exact result that is matching what you're looking for. So this definitely saves you time, but this also gives you something which is exactly going to align with what you're looking for. GitHub. Now, GitHub Copilot does suggests best practices, and it generates errors. It generates and fixes errors that might have occurred in the code that you might have posted in GitHub. And Google DeepMind. Google DeepMind is definitely the elephant in the room, which everyone is going to talk about in the coming months, because I guess officially they have not yet launched. It is just the beta version that they have launched a couple of days before, where they have shown what AI can do. And what we are seeing right now is something that is beyond our imagination, that you just provide like a clue of what this looks like, and it says it's a duck. You provide some more further enhancements in the diagram, and then it says it's a duck of blue color. So we never thought an AI or a bot could do that, but it is already doing it. Now, do you think that just implementing AI in what you do is going to make you irreplaceable? This is, I would say, one of the talents as developers that we should be knowing that to integrate this, it is going to enhance my skill set. It is going to enhance my talent. But just by implementing AI, it is not going to make you irreplaceable. There has to be something much more in this era of AI. So the role of what you guys do on a day-on-day basis is going to evolve in this world of AI. Now, when we say thinking beyond development, so as developers, what do you do when a task or a project is assigned to you? You do is, okay, what is needed, what the solution is, and this is what I need to do. But now, when we take one step forward and we see that, okay, what this whole project is about, how this is going to impact the client's business, how this is going to contribute in the ecosystem, that is where you are adding your value. That is where you are giving something more than what is expected of you. So being developers, you really just not want to bound the restrictions and just think about development that, hey, this is my job, 9 to 5, I'll do the coding, and that's it. But if we are thinking beyond it, that what additional could I do over it, that is the trait that everyone would be looking for. And I'm not telling you all of this by just reading some books or reading some research papers. We have done this study, like in the last 5 years, we have screened almost 500 people. All the people that we might have shortlisted or people that we might have been interested in is because they had all these traits that I'm showing here. So it's not just the skills that is going to make you exceptional. It's not the talent that's going to make you exceptional. It's going to be the traits that the organization would judge about. And that is going to make you irreplaceable. Now, taking new responsibilities. Being a developer, just completing that project is not the responsibility. Being a developer, the responsibility is also making sure that there are minimum number of errors in that code. There are minimum, I would say, redundancy or back and forth between the client's expectations and your work. So being a developer, we want to be highly, highly responsible in the work that we do, which will kind of bring us new responsibilities. Let's say if I put myself in your shoe, being a developer, I would love to work along with the team lead or the project manager, take up some responsibilities from them and ask them, hey, how can I help you more? This is not only going to give me more exposure of the work, but this is going to teach me something which I might have learned after 2 years or after 3 years once I had been promoted to that stage. So learning early, adapting early, and implementing it early is going to make you irreplaceable. Being client-centric. So we recently celebrated our anniversary, like the E2M anniversary in Udaipur, September. So there we talked at length about how to be client-centric and how to be the brand hero for the clients. So now when we talk about like who are the true customer support people, we always say that it's the customer support team who are the true faces for the client, or it's the sales team, or it's the marketing team that the client sees when it comes to being customer-centric. But what we found is no, that's a myth. Customer support people are not the people who are client-centric people. Their job is to make sure that the clients are happy. When it comes to being client-centric, it is you, it is the developers who are going to make an impact in the work that you do for them. So if you are doing your work properly, if you are doing your job right, if you are adding the value that you should be adding, customer support team, I feel they don't need the job. Maybe in the coming times, we just don't need them because you guys will be doing that job. From what you do is you will be making sure that the clients are super happy and there's no way the client is going to come back. Now, leveling up the communication. So communication is something which we might have thought is maybe we could do it or maybe I could not do it. But now, after the inception of ChatGPT, everybody can do it. Everybody could be good writers and everybody could be good communicators. All you have to do is just post your query, post what you want to communicate to the client, ask ChatGPT to rewrite it for you, and you can share it with your clients. So instead of writing something which we might have thought, hey, can I share this with the client or not? Let's share it with ChatGPT. Let it rewrite it for you. Let it make it more clear for you, and then you can share it. So it's leveling up the communication and the shift in the mindset. Now, when we say shift in the mindset, there are basically two types of mindset. One is the fixed mindset, and the other is the growth mindset. So now when we talk about fixed mindset, it's like a 9 to 5 mindset that this is my job, this is what I need to do, and this is done. I'm done with this. AI is not going to touch me. I know development very well, and this is all I'm going to do all day, every day. And then there's a growth mindset, which is people who are very open, people who are adaptive, people who really want to grow and scale in their role and really want to level up their game. That is the growth mindset. So we will have to shift from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset to become irreplaceable. So it's just not going to be the skills, the AI expertise, and the WordPress development talent. It is going to be these traits that is going to make you irreplaceable. Now, this is something that we follow, and this is, I would say, very dear to us, which we feel really, really makes sense, is if you are doing your job without a title, the title will follow. So just looking at the job description and saying that, hey, this is not a part of my job role, I'm not supposed to do this, that is not how you attract new opportunities. That is not how you attract new responsibilities. But now when you say that, hey, even if this is not a part of my job role, I really want to do it. I want to get exposed to all the different things that is happening around me to make sure that I get a good grasp of it. And that is how you get that title eventually. So do your job without a title, and the title will follow. Now let's take a real life example of how to make you guys irreplaceable. So let's consider this is the universe of WordPress developers. We have few WordPress fans and lovers here. So this is an ideal universe of a WordPress developers. This circle defines you, him, and everyone that is kind of in the circle of WordPress developers. So this is a Venn diagram, which is going to show you how to be exactly irreplaceable in this era. So this circle shows like all the WordPress developers. And the other circle shows developers with AI expertise and all the traits that we mentioned about, which is taking more accountability, leveling up the communication, having that growth mindset, and all the traits that we had gone through in the previous slide. So one ideal universe has like WordPress developers, and then there are developers with AI expertise and all the traits. Now, what makes you irreplaceable is this: combining your WordPress expertise with AI and with all the traits. So if you see the intersection of this Venn diagram, from this millions of developers, it's just few who might be able to reach this intersecting point. If you are at this intersecting point, that is going to make you irreplaceable. So not just your expertise, not just your talent, not just being about AI, but integrating everything with the traits is going to make you irreplaceable. So I would love to know if there is something which you feel is stopping you from being irreplaceable, something which we might not have covered in this short talk of 30 minutes, but you would want to discuss or you would want to share with me. You can just scan this. This directly goes to my email. I'll be more than happy to help you to say that, okay, this is how you could be irreplaceable, or hey, this is how we can just remove the roadblock for you, or this is how we can solve the problem. If I might not have a solution, we will work on it together. But yeah, do let me know if there is something which you feel is stopping you from being irreplaceable. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I feel privileged that I could share about AI and about this topic with all of you. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. We have a booth right there. Please stop by. We have like a lucky draw as well. So stop by, register, and then we'd love to connect and meet every one of you. Thank you.